Shabbat Shalom. It is so wonderful to be back with everyone on this Shabbat evening. As you come in, please take a second to introduce yourself and give a quick shout out to about where you are joining us from tonight. Shabbat Shalom to Ruth and Jules and Taco. Shabbat Shalom to Beverly Sklover, and possibly also Philip Sklover from Washington, D.C. As we begin our service tonight, we watch our community grow. And Shabbat Shalom, Elise and David and Sharon and everyone who was joining us this evening. Our service is going to be led out of Sidur Kol HaNeshama, the Reconstructionist Movement prayer book. If you do not have it in hard copy, I have put the link in the chat notes. Thank you so much to Reconstructing Judaism and the Department of Thriving Communities for, throughout this pandemic, making our Sidur accessible to all via the internet as a PDF. Again, the Sidur can be accessed at http://tiny.cc/KN-Shabbat. And we'll begin this evening as we light our Shabbat candles. And as we bring in this light of Shabbat, I want to offer as a kavanah, as an intention, that each of us call to mind and call to our hearts a moment of light that we saw this week. It could be the light of someone shouting a word of greeting from across the street, socially distanced. It could be the light of attending one of our wonderful programs across our community on YouTube or Zoom or other online streaming platforms. It could be the light of someone doing a kind deed, saying a kind word, a moment of light that you want to bring in from your week into this Shabbat, into this day of rest, of relaxation, of refresh, as you enter this new week. Together we light our Shabbat candles. In Sidur Kol HaNeshama, on page 3. Again, we call to mind those moments of light as we bring in the light on this Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, 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 nai-nai, yada-da-nai, nai-nai, yada-da-nai, yada-da-nai, page 7. Yedid nefesh avarahaman mishoch avdecha el retzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo hayal yishtachaveh el mul hadarecha yedidutecha mino fetzuf vecho The final verse on page 7. Yigalena ufros chavivi alai hatzukat shelomecha ta'ir heretz michvodecha nagila v'nismechavach Maher ahuf kiva moed mino vehaneni ki me'olam Yada-da-nai, nai-dai, yada-da-nai, nai-dai, yada-da-nai, nai, nai-dai, yada-da-nai, 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 nai-dai. Shabbat Shalom. And Shabbat Shalom, Sharon and Steve. Shabbat Shalom, Rich. Shabbat Shalom to Sandy and Steve and to all who are joining in from across the Philadelphia area, across our Or Chadash community, up and down the East Coast. Do take a second, if you haven't already, to introduce yourselves in the chat. Share where you're joining us from this evening. I want to share this week as a kavanah, as an intention, a poem that I found via the virtual Shabbat box from Reconstructing Judaism this week, a poem called Pandemic Sabbath, and that is not the right window. Let's try that one more time. Oh, that's so much better. Hey, look, there it is. Pandemic Sabbath. And it resonated with me as someone who has been trying to find ways, as I'm sure so many of you have been, to visit safely with family, with friends, with dear ones, as we enter into this 7th month of the COVID-19 pandemic. This poem by Kathleen Cohen spoke to me, and I wanted to offer it in case it speaks to that place from which you are entering Shabbat this evening as well. Sitting at intervals on the porch, we're masked, though still a circle, a family. Passing challah pre-sliced, no tearing the bread, no fingering shiny crust before sharing. The youngest invents a game, grasps the top page from a colorful stack at her father's knee. Rounding the table, she slaps it onto her mother's lap, returns, selects a square of sky blue, a gift for me, returns, chooses peach for one sister, jade green for another, orange for her grandfather. Is she mapping Sabbath, weaving us in? Each departure, arrival, each circuit of the table is met with cheers. Does she realize we're smiling, I ask? The muscles of our cheeks and lips are hidden. Yes, declares the oldest child. She sees the lines of kindness around our eyes. We have all found over these several months, these past months, how to smile in new ways, how to greet one another in new ways, how to join together in new ways. So I want to invite you, as we turn to page 37 and rise in spirit or body for Psalm 29, if you want to share in the chat a new way you have found to connect, that perhaps we can take with us into this Shabbat, into this time where there is so much that we do not know, yet the thing that we know most at the core of our very selves is the importance of connection. Especially those of us who are here tonight. We don't have to be tuning in on our computer screens to Kabbalat Shabbat tonight, but there's something so sacred about joining in community. So I want to invite you as we turn to Psalm 29 and rise in body or spirit as we sing to share in the chat, if you're so moved, a way that you have found that is different and new and special and sacred to connect, to find community, to find joy, your pandemic Sabbath. Page 37. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod v'oz, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai, B'hadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Hamayim, El HaKavod Hirim, Adonai, Almayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Bakoach, Kol Adonai, Behadar, Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, Vaishaber Adonai, Et Harzei Halvadon, Bayarkidem, Kemo Egel, Levanon, Vesirion, Kemo Ven Re'emim, Kol Adonai, Lama Buyashav, Yeshev Adonai, Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Leham Oyitein, Adonai Yevarech et Amo Vashalom. Yai, hai, 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 yai, hai, 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 yai, hai, 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 nanai, yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, hai, nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, hai, nai, 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 yai, nai, hai, nai, 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 yai, hai, hai, yai, hai, hai, yai, hai, hai, yai, nai, yai, 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 yai. Page 41, L'chadodi, we say Shabbat Shalom to John, who has just joined us. And we scroll up and down our list in our chat to see the names of all of those who are making up our sacred community tonight, and do this sacred act of Kabbalat Panim, welcoming one another's faces, as we engage in this singing of Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming in this sacred day of rest, renewal, and refresh. We take with us all of the points of light, all of the new ways to connect in community, voting, casting a vote 4 years in the making, dancing on Zoom with colleagues from across the country, joining a new book club by Zoom, gathering with dear, dear friends, colleagues, community for Shabbat. Page 41. Lechadodi likrat kalai ananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kalai ananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litchila lechadodi likrat kalai ananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kalai ananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'neelcha כי מקור הברכה איי מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני בני שבת מקבל לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני בני שבת נקבל. Top of page 45. התעוררי כי בהורך ומיורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה. Top of page 47. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה. We rise as we face the entrances to our homes, our apartments, our dining rooms, our dens, as we greet the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצחולי, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה ינני פני שבת נקבלה. Page 49.
You need to turn the page.
No, I'm on the page. See page 49. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, Page 57. We rise in spirit or in body for Baruch. We look at the list of folks in our chat. We look at the number count on the bottom left-hand corner of our screens and see we are making a minyan tonight. in our homes, I don't know, maybe some of us live in very large households, but in our homes, we don't have enough people to say Baruch Hu. We would move on to the next prayer. We need a quorum of 10 adult Jewish folks in order to say Baruch Hu, in order to say Kaddish, in order to say the Amidah out loud, although we're not going to do that on an evening anyway, but we could. And we notice that this power of making this choice, using our voice, using our time to join together, we enable each other to pray. We're not just doing this for ourselves, we do this for one another. And so we take that as an intention, as a kavanah, as we rise in spirit or in body for Baruch Hu, and bless the source of life. And note that we too are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our vision clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olamVad.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vad. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhmah potech sharim uvidvuna mishanei itim aliv etatunim. ומעביר יום ומהביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו אלך חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. With an everlasting love you have loved Beit Yisrael, the house of Israel. With Torah and mitzvot, laws and justice you have taught us. God does not love us, or God does not show God's love for us with wisdom and beauty and gifts and beautiful experiences. No, in Ahavat Olam, God shows God's love for us by teaching us Torah, mitzvot, laws, and justice. We are in a time in our nation's history where we show one another that we love them by treating them with justice, with dignity, by holding up our end of mitzvot, social contract kind of mitzvot, commandments, things like putting on a mask when we walk down the street. By doing these godly actions, we allow that divine love to shine through each of us. As we read together the Kavanah by Rabbi Rami Shapiro, or perhaps the interpretive version of Ahavat Olam, I want to invite you to share in the chat something that you do in the world to show love to someone else. It could be a stranger walking down the street. It could be the way that you show love to folks in your family. It could be a way that you show love and admiration to your children, young ones like the one that was sort of falling asleep on my lap a second ago, or grown ones half a continent away, or maybe just a few streets down the road. But how do you show love? How do you teach and instill those around you with the notion that you care for them and love them. Torah, mitzvot, laws, and justice. And so we reflect upon them when we lie down and we rise up. We read together on page 61. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled, ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Blessed are you, beloved one. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 65, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה אם שמוע תשמעו מצוותיי. We continue silently with one of the two biblical selections that follows. Adonai Elohechem Emet. On page 71 below the line, there's an important reminder that connects us to this piece of liturgy and what we do when we truly not just close our eyes and open our ears, but perhaps open our ears such that we are able to actually see better, see that which is going on in our community, see the things that are blocking us from being one, echad. In the handwritten scroll of the Torah, the word Shema of Shema Yisrael ends with an oversized ayin, and the word echad ends with an oversized dalid. Taken together, these two letters spell aid, meaning witness. When we recite the Shema, we bear witness to our awareness of God's presence. Over the course of the next few weeks, we will all be called to bear witness to what is going on in our country and to use our voice to make a very important choice. Several choices up and down the ballot, from local ordinances and referenda to local and national offices, to the office of the president. And I want to share, as we prepare to go into Mi Chamocha, a prayer for voting that was written by a colleague in, I believe, 2016 and updated for 2020, because as we vote either in person or as we vote by mail, as we vote early, as we vote on November the 3rd, whenever it is that we use our voice to make these very important choices, we do this work of being an aid, of being a witness, being a witness to everyone in our whole community, bearing witness to the past 4 years, bearing witness to the world we want to see 4 years down the road, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road. All of this, a sacred American duty and a sacred duty as a Jewish person to bear witness to the world around us, and to not do this as a passive task, but to do this actively, with love, with respect, with zeal, with gusto. And so we read together a prayer for voting. Behold, I am intending through this prayer, through my vote, to seek peace for this country. As it is written, seek peace of the city where I cause you to roam, and pray for her to Adonai, for in her peace you will have peace. May it be your will, Adonai, that the votes be counted fairly, and may you count my vote as if I had fulfilled this verse with all my power. May you give a listening heart to whomever we elect, and may it be good in your eyes to raise for us a good government that will bring healing, justice, and peace to all living in this land and to all the world, and upon Jerusalem, a government that will honor the image of God in all humanity and in creation, for rulership is yours. Just as I will participate in the election, so may I merit to do good works and to repair the world through all my efforts, and through the act of bearing witness to all I see and using my voice to make change in this world, which I pledge to do on behalf of all living creatures, in remembrance of the covenant of Noah's waters, to protect and not to destroy the earth in her plenitude. Give to all the peoples of this country the strength and the will to pursue righteousness and to seek peace as a unified force, to uproot racism and violence, and to make healing, good life and peace flourish here and throughout the world, and fulfill the verse for us. May the pleasure of Adonai, our God, be upon us, and establish the work of our hands for us, and make the work of our hands endure. And we add this piece as well in our 2020 election. Tear out tyranny and despotism, ruin those who cheat and deceive, upend and overthrow those who oppress the vulnerable. Make the reign of the arrogant disappear from this land, pulverize the plans of those who attack democracy, obstruct them, humble them, and bring on their downfall, that we may see justice soon and in our days. V'nomar, and we say, Amen. Mi chamocha, page 77 and 79. Umalchuto beratzon, kiblu alehem Moshe uMiriam, uvnei Yisrael lechanu, shira b'simcha rabah ve'ameru chulam. Mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha b'helim Adonai. Mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osei feleh, Nora tehilot, osei feleh. Malchutecha, rauvanecha bokei hayam, lifnei שזה אלי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כיבד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 81. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukkah. It's a city. Sukkat Shalomecha ufros aleinu Sukkat Shalomecha Baruch Ata Adonai Haporei Sukkat Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei Tevel ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 85, Vishamru. We rise in spirit or in body. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We turn to page 91 to the Amidah, silent in the evening for Shabbat. And I want to invite you in to this moment of silent prayer through the words on the page in Hebrew or in English, the commentary and kavanot below the lines, our visual Shviti meditation by Betsy Teutsch on page 89, or through the words of poetry and meditation found throughout our Siddur, or perhaps just with the prayers that no Siddur committee, no matter how wise, could ever know to put in a book, because they're the prayers in our own hearts. So we'll begin together on the top of page 91 and enjoy some moments for silent prayer. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid teilatecha. Open my lips, beloved one, and let my mouth declare your praise.
This is
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'ale kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Shabbat shalom. As we emerge from our silent prayer, we turn from a private moment to a public moment. Our Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for healing and wholeness for all of those who are in need of healing. I'm going to read the list of names of those in our community and in our concentric circles of community who are in need of healing. And if there's someone whom of whom you are thinking tonight, I want to invite you to share their name in the chat as well, so that we can call to mind all of those who are in need of extra kindness, extra care, extra thought, healing of body, spirit, and soul this Shabbat and over the course of the next week, or perhaps longer. So this week we're thinking of and sending our prayers for healing and wholeness to Roberta Archibald, Arden Bell, Carol Mueller-Bell, Ruth Belzer, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Sarah Sarulnik, Bill Conrad, Robin Kupo, Francesca Dever, Eric Gershman, Jonathan Giannini, George and Gail Glansberg, Hal Goodman, Talia Gottesman, Amy Gross, Alberta Hall, Cordula Hamish, Chava Hurley, Michelle Kalish, Sharon Cass, Fran Kaufman, Elsie Lieberstein, Len McEwen, Robert Mueller, Anthony Nero, Lisa Nicholson, Stan Pollock, Abby Rosenberg, Mike Rosenberg, Shelley Sanders, Willie Schneer, Bertha Schwartz, Margaret Steiber, Ellen Stewerman, Lloyd Suter, Jeff Taylor, Lynn Van Engel, Isabel Vita, Stan Weckstein, Millie Weissman, Grace Zangwill, Sonia Frischkin Zangwill, Eileen Zeff, Dorothy Berlin, Dora Miriam Hoffman, Eric Griffin Shelley, Marcy Cherry, Erin Marshall, Jordan Leiker, Doug Proudman, and Rob Johnson. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And just as we join together in our hearts, in our minds, our energy as a community in moments where we need healing and we are searching for wholeness, so too do we join in moments of celebration as we raise our glasses with joy. We turn to Kiddush on page 119, and I want to know if there's someone in my house who wants to be a kiddush helper this evening?
I do.
You do? Well, then you better come over here. There's a whole glass of grape juice with your name on it. Well, not really. It really says B'rei Pari Hagafen, but that's just something that people say. All right, you want to hold up the kiddush cup? All right. Oh. Savri Chavirai.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Pari Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, V'shabbat kodsha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron lemahaseh Bereshit, Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Ki eleinu karata v'otanu kidashta la'avodatecha, V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha Shabbat. L'chaim. Go ahead. You can drink it. How's the grape juice tonight?
Good.
Oh, good. Well, while Bina finishes this grape juice, let's also turn to Aleinu on page 121. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula li'otzer Bereshit, shenatan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata betocheinu. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yosed haaretz v'moshe. Kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You can be seated. As we turn in our Sidurim to page 131 for Mourner's Kaddish, we also turn in our hearts and our memories to those whom we've loved and lost at this season in years past, in recent months, in even recent weeks and days. This week we marked the passing of Leonard Marcus, member of Or Hadash and husband of Rose Marcus, father of Lou and Joel, grandfather of Jessica and Emily and Zachary. And formal Shiva has concluded for Lenny, but Rose continues to accept notes and calls of condolence and moments to come together in community throughout the rest of this week following Lenny's passing, and throughout this month of Shloshim. And we also mark the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the passing of Wesley Davis, father of Barry Davis, Bernie Wolf, father of Barb Altman, Al Chernoff, cousin of Melanie Levin, Philip Golbin, father of Arlene Golbin Burns, Betty Kaufman, grandmother of Steph Zangwill, Herman Lieberstein, father of Steve Lieberstein, Louis Kapnick, father of Shelley Kapnick Rosenberg, Thelma Mazer, aunt of Len Zangwill, and Ruth Sayford, grandmother of Kim Wilson. I want to invite mourners and all of those who are observing a Yortzeit or thinking of someone in memory this Shabbat to rise in spirit or in body for Mourner's Kaddish on page 131. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Lo. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemeh tekudsha le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim alenu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. It is so nice to be back with everyone this Friday night. I was away for a few weeks on a post-high holiday vacation. I, like many of my colleagues from across the movements of American Judaism, took a cheshbon cheshvan, a time to renew and take stock during these first weeks. Well, I guess for me, the last week of Tishrei and the first week of Cheshvan. And I want to thank the executive director of the Reconstructionist movement, Rabbi Elise Wechterman, and her colleagues from the Reform and Conservative movements, and as well many multi-denominational and trans-denominational rabbinical schools and associations for organizing a tremendous program via Zoom and other means last week for me and for others to connect to one another during this time post-high holidays, especially following this very strange and crazy high holiday season that I don't know about you, but I found to be so refreshing and beautiful and lovely in unexpected ways. And I want to say how wonderful it is to be back. Tomorrow morning, we will join together at 9 a.m. for Torah study via Zoom and 10 a.m. for services. And if you do not right now receive our daily links, email, or our newsletter at Or Hadash, and you want to, please take a moment to email Nadine Cantor, our synagogue administrator, at office@orhadash.com, and introduce yourself and let her know where you're from and that you'd like to receive our HaKesher newsletter and to connect to our Or Hadash community. And if you are joining us from afar and you've been joining us from afar for quite some time, I want to invite you as well to consider our new digital subscription membership. We are so thrilled to be able to offer all of our services and programming at Or Hadash free of charge to both members and non-members during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. But we also acknowledge that that it takes resources to support our community. And so if you are someone who has been loving your time at Or Hadash from afar, from Georgia or Florida or Washington, D.C. or California, or even from Yokohama, Japan, true story. Do email Nadine at office@orhadash.com and ask about our digital subscription, a way to support Or Hadash as a member, as a supporter from afar. And I want to invite you to take a look at our website for other upcoming events, including our Kristallnacht observance the weekend of Sunday, November the 8th. So we're going to conclude our service this evening with the singing of Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Liheit Nasa B'chavso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Be'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yiyeh B'tifara, Ve'hu Yiyeh B'tifara, Ve'hu Echad V'yein Sheni, Leham Shilo Lehachbira, Veli Reshit, Veli Tachlit, Velo Haoz V'Hanisra, Velo Haoz V'Hanisra, והוא אלי בחגו לי בצור חבלי ביצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו הפקיד רוחי בעת אישן והעירה ועם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדוני לי ולא אירא. Shabbat Shalom from our home to your home. What a wonderful thing it is to spend Erev Shabbat together. Take care. See you next week. Shabbat Shalom.